The tracks east of Gurdon are quiet now. Pine presses in, and gravel spills into ditch water. Still, people come at night, phones held like borrowed courage, to watch a light appear where no lamp should be. It is small. It moves as if it had a wrist. Some nights amber, like a lantern globe fogged with breath. Other nights white and floating at head height until the wind makes it turn. When it turns, you almost see a man attached to it, the way a shadow attaches to whatever it follows. The story begins with railroad titles. The section foreman rules a small kingdom of ties and ballast. The brakeman counts cars and watches couplings like a man counting his own fingers. Section hands pack tamping bars and curses. The work is rhythm and risk, and the line asks you to put your body where steel argues with wood. One version says a foreman carried his watch too hard on a cold night and had it struck from his hand by a man who'd heard one order too many. Another says a brakeman missed a step and became part of the train's arithmetic. Legs here, head there, the lantern rolling into Palmetto with its flame still brave. The Gurdon Light, people say, is what's left of the last thing he was holding. A circle of work, continuing when wages stop. The record gives the tale a date, winter of 1931. A section foreman, some say McLean, some McLean, confronted a crewman named McBride about missing tools and time. Words turned to hands. That night, the foreman's body was found near the bed, pine needles pressed in a shape like a hat. In court, the argument condensed to a single blow. McBride was convicted. The line kept running. The case should have settled into paper and dust. Instead, people spoke of a light that walked the right of way, pausing where a man might pause to check a joint bar or a hurried switch. In the 1960s, students brought dates and declared belief or not. Either way, they stood long enough to see their breath. In the 1980s, a TV crew came with meters. A deputy said he'd seen the light without wanting to. Old-timers said a thing doesn't need your belief to happen. A physics professor pointed to quartz in the bedrock, the piezoelectric story. Pressure to charge, charge to photons. The ground is a battery, he said, and the tracks are a wire. Teenagers liked that because it sounded learned. Parents liked anything that kept kids in a group. The light kept to its habits, far enough from explanations, near enough to follow. Measure it like a brakeman, distance in poles, height in handspans. The light often hangs just above the railhead, moves up grade and back, as a good man does when looking for a problem he can name. Sometimes, a second light darts in and out, as if coming down the opposite side and late. On rare nights, there is color, green edge, orange heart, as if a wick had been trimmed too fast. Cynics say headlights, but the highway bends away, and the pines swallow car beams the way a swamp swallows footsteps. Others say swamp gas, yet the light appears on frost nights when ditch water wears ice. Another answer refuses Latin and points to the ledger. A man died here on the job. Some jobs do not know how to stop. The lore has a choreography. The safest place to wait, they say, is near the old trestle where the creek narrows. Walk the ties but skip every third, numbering 1, 2, skip. Bring a real lantern if you want companionship, a glass belly, wire guard, soft flame. Do not whistle, do not call. If you speak, use the foreman's grammar, clear, brief, certain someone is already on the job. If it favors you, the light will appear at the curve, small as a coin, then grow until your knuckles forget the cold. People ask for names. A retired station agent will give you several and offer a cigar. A woman whose father ran the section gang saw it every fall of her childhood when pine needles slicked the ties. A deacon says it is not a ghost, but a sign. A boy in a white truck says it paced him 50 yards, then slung away into swamp like a fish refusing the net. He does not frighten easily, he says. You believe and don't in the same breath. What the light does not do is speak. It does not blink SOS, list a missing car, or point to bones. It is stubbornly itself. We live among explanations, refraction, piezoelectric sparks, cold air layers. The light nods at each theory the way a craftsman nods when a child shows how to hold a hammer, then goes back to work. One October, a visitor brought a spectrometer. Tripod legs dug into ballast. He captured peaks, circled what he liked. Sodium, he said. Maybe iron. Lantern, then? His friend asked. It means the world throws the same light through many windows, he said. They left an apple on the rail because they didn't know what else to leave. By morning, the apple was gone, and a ring of rust dusted the steel like a mild burn. The track is the last witness. Rails take sets the way habits do. Hairline crazing shows where flanges kissed too often. Joints talk back under a boot. The ballast is a map of every time a man stumbled with a jack. At midnight, the line speaks in frogs, pine tops, cooling metal. When the light comes, it joins the conversation as if late to a meeting it has attended for years. It glides, hesitates, glides, so ordinary you feel foolish for holding your breath. A true lantern obeys 3 rules: show, shelter, signal. Show what the hand is doing, shelter the flame, signal the next man. The Gurdon Light keeps those rules. Watch long enough and you keep them too, treading where a tie is sound, shading your phone with your palm, telling the person beside you what you see in workers' words. It is a small apprenticeship, served to no master and signed by nobody. There is one more version, softer. A section hand who'd lost his temper set out to find the foreman and take his apology back out of the night. He carried a lantern because words do better when you can see the face they're meant for. Between the trestle and the milepost, a scream emptied his coat of courage. He stumbled. The lantern rolled toward the ditch water, then steadied as if told to wait. By the time men came running from both ends, the apology had nowhere to go, and the light, still warm, still breathing its small circle, was the only part of the story that knew how to stand its ground. That is why it comes back. Not for vengeance, for duty interrupted. Ask the town what to do and you'll get practical answers. Post a sign. Clear a turnout. Sell t-shirts. Ask the night the same question and it tells you to step aside. A thing that has done one job for nearly a century has earned the right to keep at it without commentary. Everything else, foreman, brakeman, murder, quartz, is detail trying to catch a light that already knows its route. Stand on the shoulder and wait. Count poles if it calms you. Think how many wrists have lifted lanterns along this line, how many breaths have fogged their globes. When the light shows, small, patient, inexplicably sure, let it pass. If it slows, nod. If it lingers, step back to keep the right-of-way clear. And when it is gone, do the only thing a witness can do for a working man. Make certain your shoes have not scuffed the rail. In summer, the light can look like heat wobble. In winter, it sharpens until the pines seem carved from glass. Spring brings mud on the ties and a sweetness in the ditch water that makes the orb feel nearer, as if it had taken 3 careful steps toward you. In fall, when the needles lay down in copper sheets, the glow lifts and lowers like a breath you can almost match if you are very still. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.